Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYNT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The United States has now recorded more than 1 million confirmed coronavirus cases, while the number of deaths is approaching 60,000. CBS's Michael George has the latest from New York.
The total number of COVID-19 victims continues to rise in the United States. The disease has now claimed more American lives than were lost in the Vietnam War.
Every day, I think maybe today is the day the nightmare will be over, but it's not.
Parts of the country that have seen relatively few cases are pushing ahead with plans to restart their economies.
If we can make sure that our vulnerable senior population is protected, it will allow others to re-engage very slowly, very carefully in the economic process.
California's governor is suggesting its coronavirus restrictions may soon be lifted.
We believe we are weeks, not months away from making meaningful modifications to that indicator and in this space. Weeks, not months.
But as more states move to allow businesses to reopen, experts warn that doing so comes with risks.
If we are unsuccessful or prematurely try to open up and we have additional outbreaks that are out of control, it could be a rebound to get us right back in the same boat that we were in a few weeks ago.
Dr. Fauci says states need to be ready to conduct widespread testing and contact tracing to contain new hotspots. Elected officials find themselves in a bind.
We're trying to get right and balancing the need to reopen the economy as we can with the imperative to protect public health. And those things are obviously somewhat in conflict.
Underscoring what's at stake in reopening the economy, today the University of Washington revised its estimated coronavirus death toll from 66,000 by August to more than 74,000. They changed it because they saw that fewer people are now social distancing. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Back here in Kentucky, Governor Andy Beshear announced 230 new cases of COVID-19 today. That brings the Commonwealth's total to 4,375. 12 new deaths were reported, bringing the death toll to 224. 102 of those are in long-term care facilities. 1,617 Kentuckians have fully recovered from the virus.
And today, not a bad day here in the mountains. It started out a little bit soggy for some, but then we saw that sunshine this afternoon along with those warmer temperatures. You can look at our UVA WISE camera, that sunshine and that sun setting with a few clouds here and there, and we'll continue to see more clouds as we head into tonight. Interstate 75, quiet for now. It'll be a little bit different though, heading into tomorrow and even into tomorrow night. Right now, temperatures still on the warmer side, mid to even upper 60s if you're looking in Irvin, 69, 66 in Hazard. Cooler though down into Middlesboro at 53 degrees, 61 in Harlan, 55 over in Jonesville, a little bit of a cool spot over there. Most of us really look to only drop into about those mid 50s tonight, especially with those clouds increasing. We are going to see the possibility for a few rain chances tonight, but mostly as we head into tomorrow. So tomorrow looking very soggy, showers and some thunderstorms return as the cold front moves in. We could see a few more chances throughout your day. Thursday will cool off and start to clear out a little bit, and that sunshine finally returns by your Friday. I'll have the rest of that forecast coming up in a little bit.
Thank you, Paige. A battle is brewing between Governor Beshear and Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Today, the Attorney General called on the governor to lift a ban on mass gatherings. The Attorney General says he will file a lawsuit if in-person church services are not allowed. Nick Oliver explains the changes Cameron wants and the governor's defense of his orders.
During a news conference this afternoon, Attorney General Daniel Cameron is striking a new tone with Governor Andy Beshear, one that hasn't been publicly heard, but one that surrounds the Constitution.
These seem overbroad in my judgment as it relates to the travel ban and the way that the church restriction has been applied.
The Attorney General demanding the governor allow churches to have the option to hold in-person services, also joining in a lawsuit filed against the governor weeks ago by a Northern Kentucky woman. That lawsuit over the statewide travel ban. Both topics, the Attorney General says, have been overstepped.
I'm hopeful that he will recognize the importance of our First Amendment and constitutional rights. If not, then we will be prepared to move to the next step of filing a lawsuit to protect the constitutional rights here in the Commonwealth.
The governor on that announcement.
Folks, I'm not trying to set rules that are difficult, and I'm not trying to set rules that are controversial. I'm just trying to set rules that save people's lives.
The governor says he's currently not banning in-person church services, but just mass gatherings. As for the travel ban, the AG says the restrictions aren't realistic, especially some places where no COVID-19 cases have been recorded.
How is that bettering or flattening the curve here in Kentucky if you're going to a place that has no reported cases?
Despite it all, the governor says early rulings by a judge says what the governor did was completely legal. Nick Oliver, WYMT Mountain News.
Emergency rooms have been open throughout the spread of COVID-19, but they are facing an indirect issue from COVID, people not coming to the ER out of fear. At the ARH emergency room in Hazard, they say they've seen people wait hours, even days after experiencing something like a heart attack. Here there are separate lobbies for people experiencing respiratory symptoms. They also screen you and take your temperature at the entrance. Emergency room staff say that it is still crucial people who need immediate medical attention get it.
But unfortunately, if you wait, the longer you wait, the more damaged heart muscle and the more recovery time is necessary for people to resume their normal function. And sometimes you never get back to your normal function.
Now, there are plenty of instances where telemedicine can be the answer, but for things like severe chest pain and kidney problems, they recommend you still come to the ER. COVID-19 testing is ramping up across Kentucky, but in Harlan County, they are finding some of the necessities to do that hard to come by. Dr. Abdul Dahan has everything he needs to test for COVID-19. He's even beginning to set up a tent outside his office to make testing more accessible and discreet for those who want it. But at noon Tuesday, they only had 9 testing swabs left, and finding more at a small practice is growing increasingly difficult.
I guess it's bureaucracy. I mean, the swabs are available. It's just a matter of getting the system in gear so we can get them and get them going. I have now only 9 left, and I expect I will need many more. So hopefully we'll get them all going. This is not a one-day affair or one-week affair. I think we plan to continue it for the foreseeable future.
Dr. Dahan is working closely with County Judge Executive Dan Mosley to get more swabs. As COVID-19 restrictions keep people from gathering in large groups, this can be especially hard for people who lose a loved one. Bluegrass Care Navigators is helping ease the grief for families that go through this difficult time, creating compassion bags. The bags include a candle, poem, ribbons, and forget-me-not seeds, just to name a few. Workers say this help sends a message of support and hope.
Our bereavement team and our chaplains and I work together to come up with some information and some ideas, not to substitute, but to kind of give people ideas for what they could do now and what they might consider later when restrictions are lifted and we can gather.
Bluegrass Care Navigators is accepting donations for their COVID-19 response. We have a link to donate on our website, WYMT.com. Today in Corbin, the Whitley County Farmers Market had their opening day, but had to follow CDC guidelines. The Kentucky Department of Agriculture also launched a new social media campaign today supporting state farmers markets. WYMT's Emily Bennett went to the market to see how they enforce those guidelines.
When farmers market season arrives,
there you go, thank you.
Nibrock Park in Corbin is usually packed with entertainment.
And we've even got the little puppy shampoos.
But with CDC guidelines, precautions are in place.
We got masks and gloves. We set up water points, water stations so customers can wash their hands.
Guidelines include 1 shopper per family, social distancing, and not touching items.
The vendors, so 1 person will bag the produce and 1 person to handle cash.
Okay.
Whitley County Farmers Market Manager Andrew Modica was nervous he would not be able to open, but after being named essential, he is glad to see customers supporting local.
People want fresh produce, and it's less hands touching your produce, it is, because it comes straight from the farmer to you.
making things even safer by starting a pre-order and curbside pickup option.
We expected to only have a couple orders, but we're in the double digits. We got quite a bit of orders on that, so we're excited about that.
The pandemic is boosting business for vendors Courtney Moses and Paul Dingle.
As soon as everything happened, things just kind of blew up.
Yeah, just the
demand.
The crazy demand, yeah. So we're just trying to get as much stuff in the ground as possible.
It's been
just kind of
crazy growing season.
Yeah.
Seeing hope as people are turning to local produce during hardships.
And when you do have to rely on your local economies, you want them to be strong, you know? You want them to be able to withstand something like this.
Hoping that when this is all over,
I'll have a bunch of spring garlic.
People will continue to support their local vendors. In Corbin, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.